Welcome once again to ESC Fan TV. It's Friday night, and that means only one thing is important right now, and that is Melodi Grand Prix 2021 Heat 2. We are here tonight to take you through all 4 qualifying entries and, of course, talk about that one pre-qualifier. It's going to be a very exciting night. We want to hear from you as well. We want to hear who your favourite is, and we're going to tell you how you can get involved in tonight's show very, very shortly. But before we do that, let's say hello to our panel this evening, but starting, as always, with my co-host Tom. Hello, Tom.
Hey, Stu. How are you?
I'm very well. Good to have you back. Last time we did this, you were not here, so it's really good to have you on the show for this preview. And what a preview it's going to be.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. And also, you know, had the decorators in as well, I see, with the opening titles.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope the chat group enjoyed them. Tell us what you think. Brand new theme tune, brand new intro for you tonight on ESC Fan TV. But I think we should say hello to our panel, Tom. What do you think?
Absolutely. Let's get on with the show.
Absolutely. Let's say hello to Elliot.
Hello, everyone. I'm here again. I saw Morton got a lot of love for his hat, but he's not here tonight, so I brought my own.
Show
Even in Norway colours.
He'd be very proud. Morton will be back with us next week. He's somewhere in the hills in Norway at the moment. So hello to Morton if you're watching this, and I'm sure you will at some point. Let's say hello to Joe.
Hello, everyone. Morton, I hope you're having a great holiday as well. And your hat's better than Elliot's. That's all.
Oh, that's fighting talk. Let's say hello to Alina, all the way.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Alina. Good to have you on the show. Ian and Donna, all the way up in Scotland. Hello. Good to see you on the show.
Good evening.
In the south of England, we say hello to Steve.
Hi.
And all the way from Turkey, we say hello to Marios.
Cyprus, good evening.
Whoops.
Whoops.
But he's been to Turkey.
It's okay. No, I've been living in Turkey for 8 years, but I'm in Cyprus now. Hi guys, how are you?
Good to have you on the show. Whoops. Let's move on rather quickly. So let's talk about tonight's rules and the show itself. 4 songs. 1 pre-qualifier. We're going to take you through all of them. We're going to give you our thoughts, but most importantly, we want your thoughts, and we want you to get involved in tonight's show. And you can do that through clicking on menti.com and using the code 80 10 91 and 5. It's just across the bottom of the screen. It's going to be there all evening. 80 10 91 5, and you'll see all 4 entries that are up for qualification tomorrow evening. Pick your favourites. Let's see who's going to win. Hey, Steve, Stuart. Hey, Neil, Steve. If you're in the chat room, keep your comments coming through. And if you want, you can ask the panel your burning platform, your burning questions. Let's see if they can answer them. I think we should get on with song 1, don't you think? Should we hear the song 1? And song 1 tonight is Daniel Owen. And Daniel Owen is bringing us a song called Psycho. Let's take a listen.
Psycho, never thought you would make me a psycho. You're making me go loco, psycho. Never thought you would make me a psycho. You're making me go loco, psycho. Never thought you would make me a psycho. You're making me go loco, psycho. Never thought you would make me a psycho.
So Daniel Owen is a talented actor, singer, songwriter and dancer. So that might give us a few clues for tomorrow evening. First came to prominence in Norway at the age 11. He's currently signed to Universal Music Group. His music tends to be more R&B, and this song is all about the feeling that can give you. Let's see what our panel think of it. We're going to go to Elliot first. Elliot, what did you think of this one?
This does, for me, the cardinal sin in music, and especially Eurovision songs at the beginning and the end, which is spoken word. I hate it so much. It's such a weird beginning, and I don't know how they're going to do that live tomorrow night. I don't know how it's going to work. The song itself is very current, it's very modern, but at the same time, it's that sort of like background filler music you have at a house party. It's just on, and you sort of dance to it, but no one's paying attention to it. So I just don't know how this is going to work. I'm not the biggest fan, sadly. Yeah, it just needs a kick with some more power and something. It reminds me a lot of Pink Jacket from last year, where it seemed quite promising, and then that live performance was pretty dire, let's be honest. So I'm hoping he performs it a little bit better than Alexandru last year, but the song itself, it's fine, it's modern, it's nothing special though.
But you did like the pink jacket last year. I think you went and bought one, didn't you?
I was tempted, but they didn't have it in my size.
Well, look, listen, this guy's got it all. He's a singer, he's a dancer, he's an actor. Alina, what do you make of this one? And what are you expecting from tomorrow night's performance?
So far, I expect nothing, but I'm curious on on how it will go. He's also my second favorite, so I'm just having high hopes for him. And yeah, I don't fall asleep when listening to his songs, so yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you, Alina. And Joe, what's your take on this particular song? Are we expecting this to be the kind of song? Because if we think back to last week with Blas Martin, that wasn't the song that we all picked for the rock song last week, didn't we, with Yawn? And we were proven to be completely wrong. And Blas Martin came out of nowhere with a phenomenal performance live and blew everybody away. Is this the kind of song which equally can be elevated with the right performance?
Seriously, probably no. I'm trying to be really kind by it, but I just want to say that, you know, Psycho by name, Psycho by nature, I just don't think the song's going to be saved. They'd have to do one amazing stage show to get that elevated. And tomorrow night, if it goes through, you can actually quote me on it. I just don't like it at all. I don't think it's going to be worth. It'll go out in the first round. Definitely.
Thank you, Joe. Not doing so well with Daniel Owen at the moment. And I don't see too many other panelists who are going to say too many positive things. Let's try Tom. Let's see what Tom has to say. Tom, please be nice.
What do they call it? TikTok. They call it, and there's like a TikTok thing that goes round, and it's like something a psychopath. And quite frankly, you know, this kind of puts me in mind of that. I think it's got potential. I like the fact that the album cover is black and red. I wonder if that's going to give us a hint to the staging. Obviously, Daniel Owen's got a superb pedigree in terms of background of dancing and everything, so I'm expecting quite the show. And it's quite repetitive. And people are saying that as if it's a negative thing, and I don't think it is, actually, because it's such an earworm. It sits there. It just sits there, just nibbling away. Psycho, never thought you would make me a psycho. You know, some would argue, and I have to say it, you know, some would argue if you listened to this on repeat enough, it might do. But, you know, I think it's got potential. I reckon, and I do agree with David in the chat, who reckons, you know, that a final dual spot is if, let's face it, if the draw goes his way, isn't beyond the realms of possibility tomorrow night. I think it's got a good chance.
I'm not ruling this one out either. I'm learning my lesson from last week when you all guys looked and you said Yawn is going to win this hands down. You were wrong. I think this is the kind of song which, with the right performance, given all of his credentials, can be raised and can be elevated to a point where he could qualify. So I want to put that out there. I don't think this is a song you can necessarily write off until you see it live. He could be standout in terms of singing. He could be standout in terms of his performance on stage. So let's see. Not long to wait. Of course, if you like to watch the Norwegian semi-finals, Heat 2 is tomorrow night at 7:50 Central European Time on NRK. Won't take you long. You have to watch it. It's about an hour and a half. And then join us at 10 p.m. Central European Time on YouTube straight after, and we'll give you the lowdown. So I think that's song one done. I think we should move on rather swiftly. But before we do that, Tom, what's the current chatter in the chat room?
Do you know what? We've got tons of stuff going on in the chat room. By the way, guys, can we just give a big wave to everyone in the chat room, because it's awash with people this evening. Hello to everyone. Hello to Lana. Hello to Andy Brooke. Thanks to Andy Brooke as well, because he designed the new opening titles and theme tune that you've seen this evening. Hi to David, to Neil, to Mel, to Campbell, to Annie Joe, to ESC Manga, to John Boy, to Samir, to Anita, to Thomas. If I've missed you out, I do apologise, but hi to you all. Some people have made comparisons with Benjamin Ingrosso and said that, you know, that sounds like something he would do. I take that as a positive point. Also, some people have said, you know, a final dual spot, agreeing with me. Some people say that being cute isn't enough to save the song. And others are saying that basically it's catchy and annoying in the best way possible.
There you go. Let's see what happens tomorrow night. We're going to move on to song 2, and we have a returnee to not only Melodi Grand Prix but also Eurovision. That's right, he's been there twice before. Let's have a little listen to My Life Is Okay.
Okay, my life is okay. Okay, my life is okay. Some say I should fix up my hair. I say no way, my hair is okay.
That's right, Eurovision veteran Ketil Stokkan. Back in 1986, he wowed the crowds with Romeo, and unfortunately went drastically wrong for him a few years later in 1990. We know Joe's a big fan, so we'll talk to Joe about this song and also Ketil very, very shortly. I have to say, when doing my research on Ketil, I was probably most interested by the fact he is the lead singer of a band called the Funky Ducks. I have never listened to the Funky Ducks, but I feel like I need to go away and listen to the Funky Ducks. Perhaps Joe can fill me in. Let's talk to the panel. Let's get their take on My Life Is Okay. We're going to come to Ian and Donna first, I think. He's a Eurovision legend. Does experience in MGP and Eurovision lend him well in this instance?
It's a very well-rounded song. And it's nice to put together. He's got a really nice, rich voice, so it possibly does. Stan, he's a known name. It's not the most exciting of songs, though.
He's very okay. I think he kind of sums it up in his own song. Really, it's for me. It's lovely. It's a bit cheesy, but it's just okay. Let's hope the staging will actually really bring it out for him, because, as you say, he's a veteran of the stage, so he's not going to be shy from his performance. So, I'm hoping for a lot from this one, but we shall see.
Yeah, I do quite like the kind of vibe of it. You know, whatever you think, I'm happy with my life and the way I am. So just chill. It's fine.
Yeah, you can say all you like to me. I'm just okay. Yeah. So you deal with it your way. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, it's kind of a middle of the road type of song, but it's very reminiscent of Romeo from 1986, isn't it? Joanne, you're a huge fan of Ketil, and I think, if I remember rightly, Romeo is one of your favourite songs of all time. So how does My Life Is Okay stack up in Ketil's back collection for you? Where does it sit? Is it one of his better ones? Is it just kind of okay?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's better than Brandenburger Tor, but not as good, obviously, as Romeo, because that for me was, it is one of my favourite ever Eurovision songs, and it's the performance that went with it. And I mean, I don't know if he's lost it sort of over the years performance-wise, but if he performs it the way that he did in 1986, then we're in for a good show tomorrow. I do love him. Even though he's a bit long in the tooth, you have to admit, as far as like performers go, and whether he'll go all the way. But one for the oldies, that's what I'm going to say. And it's just so similar sounding, isn't it, to Romeo? You could play them sort of alongside each other, or layer them, play, and sort of he's used that same backing, he's used that same melody for both songs. But I really like it, if I'm honest.
Thank you, Joe. Oh God, blimey, Joe's a little bit like that on one of her favourite singers. This is not going as well as I'd planned. Marios, let's bring you in. Ketil's known for wacky performances. He's known for standing out in the crowd. What has this got to do to stand out in the crowd for you?
Well, first of all, can I just say that when he went in 1986, I was 14 years old, and it stuck with me, that song. It was just so catchy, the performance. And I was actually in Cyprus at the time, and I remember the commentator saying, I need to point out that all three dancers are men. And that stuck up with me because at 14, I was like, yeah, we noticed that, we know that. But this guy has a lot of energy, but, you know, this is 2021. I think it's a very catchy song. As you said, middle of the road. I think they wrote this when they were pissed. You know, it's like, hi, I'm okay, my life's okay. I like it. I think that it's a good song for what he has to present. I don't know what the staging's going to be like, but as an artist, as a comeback after 31 years, it's going to be an interesting performance, I think, to watch. And I really like him, and he's got that good voice that I remember he had back in the 80s. Who knows? Might be shocked.
And as Anita says, everything is just okay. Steve,
Yeah.
Steve, let's come to you. So, what do we have to look forward to tomorrow night, do we think, from Ketil? Is he going to throw everything at this, including the kitchen sink?
Well, I would hope so, and he probably needs to some extent. But I really like it because maybe because I'm the same age as him, although he's a month older. I just looked him up on Wikipedia, so that makes me feel really good. And I wonder, because it was the Great Garlic Girls, weren't they, that kind of did the backing in '86. Wouldn't it be nice to see them back again, maybe with their walking frames, just doing that kind of backing, dancing sort of stuff? So... And I wonder if he's got a few surprises in store. I must admit I like it, but that's probably partly my age, and partly it's immediately catchy. It's really catchy, and the beginning reminds me of the theme from the Golden Girls as well. It's got that kind of "thank you for being a friend" type vibe to it. And it's very repetitive, but I think in quite a good way. And I must admit I like it. Will it get through? I doubt it.
We have to wait and see. And for those in the chat room, if this was your favourite of the four, I know we've only heard two, but if you've probably listened to them already, if this is your favourite, make sure you pick the phone up, or you open a browser and you click menti.com and use the code 801091 and 5 and vote for it. Tom, how's the chat room looking?
Our chat rooms are awash with chat, as always. Let's face it, a bit of a lukewarm response to Ketil's song. Perhaps the most interesting comment is from Steve Eurovision. Did you see Ketil teaching Raylee his choreography on Instagram? Personally, I didn't. I put it out to the panel who've been replying on the private chat, and it doesn't look like anyone has, unless anyone's going to pop up and go, oh, I've quickly grabbed it. But we've definitely pinpointed it as something to watch after the show. And obviously, I put it out to you guys that are watching as well. Looks like there's something interesting to look at on Insta as well. But everyone else, I think the best comment is this from David. I like it, very jazzy. Wish Ketil the best in the semi. Maybe he can surprise and gets to the final. Let's see what he brings to the stage.
Well, I think everyone's a bit nervous now, aren't they? Hedging their bets after last week. Nobody saw that coming. And all good to NRK and the MGP organisational committee for making this happen. I have to say, I take my hat off to them. I think they've raised the bar significantly on last year. So congratulations on a phenomenal first show. We're going to move on to song 3, and they do deserve a clap, absolutely. Song 3 is the first song in Norwegian for this evening. They have 2. We're going to get to 2. Maria Solheim with Nordyset. Let's have a little listen to this. So Maria was first noticed in Norway at age 15. She's a bit older now. I won't tell you exactly her age, but this song is translated as Northern Lights. So we'll come to that in a second. She's quite an established artist in Norway now. She's pretty well known and working on her 7th solo album. Let's ask the panel what they think of this one. We're going to come to Steve, I think. Steve, Northern Lights tend to mean lots of different colours sort of flying around in the background, usually lots of greens, lots of blues. What are you expecting from this, given it's quite a peaceful, sweet little ballad? What would you expect to see on stage tomorrow night?
Understated performance for an understated song, to be honest. Maybe even a rocking chair in there. I don't know. It's going to be very... It's not going to be wild, is it? We know that. It's a very sweet song. It's kind of a lullaby. But it's quite forgettable as well. And I think, I honestly don't think it stands a chance. Sorry.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Marius, songs in Norwegian of later times haven't done that well. I'm thinking back to one of Joe's favourites, Moreland, in 2019. It didn't quite do it. Is this seen as an advantage or a disadvantage, would you say, in this instance?
I would say it's a disadvantage, and especially with this song, which is actually, it's sweet. She's got a good voice. It's forgettable. I don't think it will make an impression tomorrow. But then again, there are, the age groups that might go for this. But at the same time, I think out of the 4 songs, this is the least memorable one. But she seems very talented, and as you said, she's an established artist. But does this help her to go through? I don't think so.
I think we just need to remember, though, that you can make an understated song really powerful on stage. And I'm going to come to Ian and Donna, because I've seen these type of songs before when you listen to it and you just think it doesn't stand out for me. And then you see it on stage and you get a massive black backdrop, you get a shard of light hitting the performer, and all of a sudden you create something quite magical. Could we potentially see that tomorrow evening?
Yes, I think the key to the stage in this one is going to be simplicity. It's a very gentle song. It's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful song, and it's very delicate. So it can't have a big production. It needs to be simple, very beautiful, but very simple to complement the song. It's but yeah, I think that's what we'll see. A really nice, simple, but hopefully very effective staging, because it is beautiful. It's a lovely song.
Yeah, it's amazing what can really add to it with lighting, isn't it, and things like that. Something, just a little touch. I mean, look at Duncan Lawrence, what that did for him. I mean, I wouldn't want to just say it's like one of these winter warmer songs that you just want to wrap yourself up in a blanket and sit near a fire and just chill out. But it's beautiful to listen to. Like a lot of people say, it's a bit forgettable, which is a shame. But I would listen to it on track anyway. I just hope she can pull something out by keeping it simple in the duels.
I just want to pick up on what Diane's just put in the chat there. Can we just bring that up again? Thank you. I like this. Very Norwegian, my choice of these. Actually, we're going to get to the pre-qualifier in a minute, and the use of violin and simplicity in this song, I think, is quite pronounced. And I'm just interested in Tom's view, whether this is the type of song that, given what we've heard so far, could really stand out tomorrow with simplicity and just come out of nowhere, a bit like Bliss Marfin did last year, and deliver a really strong performance that everyone's going to get behind.
Do you know what? I think there's a fair chance of that, Stu. I've been thinking about this. I think the trouble is when you listen to them, sometimes you build up an image in your head. And the thing is, this has a fragility to it. It has a simplicity to it that I think could actually work really well. Don't forget, there isn't any audience either. And, whilst we say, there's the pop-tastic, there's the dramatic and things like that. But I think it's fair to say that there are some songs last week that I think probably would have gone down better if there'd have been an audience. But then there are other songs that similarly are going to benefit with not having an audience. And do you know what? Just her on the stage, maybe with a violinist or something, the stream of light hitting down there, a nice, soft, blue background maybe. Do you know what? I think this could hit all the marks, and I think it's very, very dangerous to underestimate it and say, you know, it's forgettable and things like that, because often if you hit people in the right points emotionally, with the right staging, and with that type of fragile song, you can end up making very big waves, and that's exactly what she could be doing tomorrow night.
Absolutely. I'm just going to take you back to Lithuania 2018, and that came out of nowhere, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally out of nowhere. And, you know, this could be the same thing, because for all we say dramatic and pop-tastic and things like that, there's still heart, isn't there? There's still heart, and we listen to some stuff, and it just has to have that right note at the right time with the right setting, and all of a sudden, magic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind admitting it. I think this is the outsider to win tomorrow. The dark horse. I think this has everything you'd want from a real contender of this type of semi-final. It stands out to me. I know it's not meant to, but it does, and I think it could be quite emotional on stage. And when I listened to it, I immediately went to Eva from Lithuania 2018, and how that made me feel when I first heard it. And then when I saw it live on stage, let me tell you, in Lisbon, and there were a few of us that were there, there wasn't a dry eye when she was singing. Everyone was in tears, and this has the ability to connect with the audience in a similar kind of a way. What are the chat rooms saying, Tom?
The chat room, I'll be honest, are quite mooted on this one, really. Obviously, Diana, we know, said that the song's very Norwegian, and it's her choice. ESC Manga, second favourite. Song is beautiful. We've also got the fact that, where is it? And I've lost the comment. Where is it? Nah. Oh, that's it. There we go. Campbell. I find this one very pleasant. Everyone seems to think it's quite inoffensive and things like that. And I tell you what, interesting comment just come through, Stu. WIVM, I think we have to take into account that the likeliness that there will be an audience in Amsterdam is near to null. And so that will be the same during the actual live shows. That could, and to be perfectly honest, that could mean that it could benefit this potentially, you know, but it's totally dependent on you know, where the jewels actually fall tomorrow night. And Diana, my new favourite, by the way, love it.
89% right, Diana. There's always that 1%, and it's usually around Ziguba. Anyway, we're going to move on now to the fourth song of the evening, and given that we've been relatively in the middle or slightly below in our estimations of the previous three, I think this one might probably go up an estimation or two. This is returnee Raylee with Hero. Let's have a listen. So yeah, that was Raylee's Hero. So Raylee's no stranger to MGP. She went close last year with Wild, and she was actually in MGP a few years before with the song Louder, but very close last year. Did you know that Wild was streamed over 6 million times? I didn't know that. That was quite impressive, actually. She's also had numerous hits in Norway. She's quite a big star now, actually, especially since last year's MGP. I'd like to focus on the songwriters, though, because that's where the magic really happens. Andreas, I can never correct me if that was wrong. He's written Fuego and, of course, Too Late for Love, or co-wrote or co-written those two songs. And Laurel Barker is also on the name on the co-writers list here. She wrote many songs. Many songs. She's written She Got Me for Switzerland a few years ago, Sisters for Germany in 2019, and has co-written a Cypriot song for this year as well. There we go. Let's talk about this song. We're going to come to Alina first. Raylee, Hero. What do you think about this?
Well, she told that she did an 80s power song, and for me this is an 80s power song, and I like it. I mean, you actually want to dance to this song, and I can see this easily go to the final. Easily.
How does it make you feel, Alina? Is this one make you want to get up and dance?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Elliot. Elliot, it's good to see Raylee back, isn't it? And this is a very different but actually equally strong hit from her this year.
Yeah, I mean, I was a fair few chunk of those streams from Wild last year. I actually found that was most streamed song on Spotify last year. No shame in it. The song is an absolute banger. I love it, and she performed the ever-loving hell out of it. It's quite American, this song, but it does help that the songwriters, apart from Andreas, are Canadian, so hence why it's that sort of American touch to it. This song is so Flashdance and 80s style, and I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. It's camp. It's jazzercise. I expect it to be just going on in a unitard with a headband. It's so ridiculous but brilliant, and I just loved it. Just love the lyrics. I don't need a hero. Sorry about your ego. I mean, it's brilliant, and we know she can perform these up-tempo, high energy performances, and we know she can sing live. I guess, as Tom alluded to, this is probably a song that will need a live audience to really get behind her, and it would lift the song, so it'll be interesting to see how she manages without it. And obviously what they said last week with everyone being so darkly lit last week, and with MGP's stage being so dark, I really hope there's just a lot of light and bright colour put on that stage, because this is such an energetic song, it needs that to go with it. But in my mind, the best song of MGP by an absolute mile, that's including Kaido and Tix from last week. I think this is miles ahead. And if Norway sent this to Eurovision, it would do quite well, because it's got that instant recognisable synth 80s, nostalgic melody, which is doing so well in commercial charts at the minute. So I think it would be a brilliant choice for them.
It's a very popular type sound at the moment, isn't it? It's very, very in vogue. Steve, when I visualise how this might be on stage, I'm thinking Kim Cattrall in the film Mannequin, 1986 or whatever it was, shoulder pads, mullets. What are you expecting on stage? I'll tell you what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a flawless performance and fantastic choreography, but I'm keen to understand how good this might be.
Well, I'm expecting really good staging, good dancing, good singing. A bit like last year, I think that was really well staged for her too. And I'm hoping they'll give it that little bit of an 80s vibe to it as well, because it very definitely is like anything we brought in the mid-80s, really, isn't it? This could have been in Eurovision instead of Romeo, couldn't it, in many ways? I love it. I think it's a really good song. I think it's the obvious winner from the semi. I'm not sure I like it as much as her song last year, but I do like it, and I think it could do well in the final if it gets through. Not sure it's a winner, but I love it. I love it, and I listen to it again and again. It's a real earworm as well.
It really is, and if there was a Euro Club in 2021, I'm sure we'd be dancing to it. But yeah, I mean. Marios, how does this compare with last year's Wild? And is this the kind of song which could really, really challenge Kano?
I think it can. And actually, I was thinking exactly the same thing what you said a minute ago about Mannequin. When I listened to it the first time, it took me back to that. It's very soundtracky, and also it's like I never exercise, but I'm thinking aerobics for some reason, and it's got a very 80s vibe to it, but it sounds also very now. She's a great performer. I think out of the 4 songs, this does stand out. And again, as Elliot said, this needs a live audience because it needs to be lifted. I'm suspecting tomorrow we're going to see a good performance. She's a good artist, but this sound is very now. We get a lot of songs like this, and it's good because I love the 80s, and having sounds like that these days is amazing.
And I can see people really kind of getting behind this one. Ian and Donna,
Exactly.
What are you expecting from tomorrow night's performance? How do you visualise this?
It's a difficult one, but I'm expecting lots of big hair and leg warmers. I'd be very disappointed if it didn't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, if this doesn't look like the kids from Fame are doing it, something's gone wrong. Yeah, big, colourful. It's as Martin said in the chat, it's Flashdance, it's Footloose, it's the big 80s musical theatre and film musicals. So that's got the feel. It's kids dancing on car bonnets in New York City. Obviously, they can't have that on the stage, but big, colourful, very choreographed, very high energy dancing. Yeah, very theatrical. It's gonna, and it's gonna need it to get the punch as well. So, yeah, it's gonna be fun. This is gonna be the most fun one.
It's definitely well placed in this semi-final anyway. I think we've got a lot of stuff that just needs something to lift it up, and I think this one's the one to do it. So it'll be a high point, I think, in the whole evening.
See, I kind of, when I listen to this song, I draw comparisons with Benny Benassi's Satisfaction, can't tell you why, and Irene Cara's, I've forgotten the name, what's the song? Flashdance, that's the one. Irene Cara's Flashdance. There's a cross between the two. And when I think about it, I try to visualize the performance. I can see if they get this right and they create a choreography that is catchy and people at home are able to do it and replicate it, you can create something quite similar to what Daddy created for Iceland last year. And I can almost visualize 6 people on stage, including Raylee, at the front, and creating something that people will get behind and really kind of start doing at home, and it will catch on via TikTok, a bit like Daddy did and all that kind of stuff. I'm really excited by this, and I'm really excited to see what she does, because we know she's a flawless singer, we know she's a great performer, we know she's fantastic looking as well. The whole package there for me. Tomorrow night will really be quite an eye-opener, actually, and potentially competition for Kano, which is exactly what Kano need. And yeah, I'm keen to know, Joe, you were there last year in the arena, so you saw Raylee, and she nearly won. What are you expecting?
Yeah, she was absolutely amazing, and notwithstanding as well that the night before she played Kano's gig, because that's where I met her, and yeah, she and everyone just loved her. Everyone there waiting for Kano just loved Raylee. They thought she was amazing. Seriously, I'm expecting, 80s vibe like everyone else, as an 80s rock chick, absolutely loving it. I just can't love this one enough. My winner definitely, and Fraser and the amazing Laura Barker have done it again, haven't they? Let's just face it, this one's going to cruise through.
It could very well do. Tom.
Oh, I like this one. I think Laurel Barker and the rest of the writers have totally excelled themselves. It's going to be an upbeat one. Do you know what? And this is the thing, and I'm just thinking about it. So last week we thought Jorn was going to win, or Stina was going to win with Elevate, depending on whether you spoke to me or not. I was backing Stina more. And when Blasmufen came on with their staging, it blew them out the water. And this is a great song, and it's got a really good beat to it. And I just want her to get the staging right, because if she doesn't, she could be in trouble, I think. Everyone's raving over it and saying it'll go through easily, but there's a couple of songs in there that, quite frankly, if they hit their mark, if they do something special, she could be in trouble. Now, I love the song. I think it's got a fantastic 80s vibe. And let's face it, it is when you're listening to the audio of it, it is the clear favourite to go through. Okay, you've got the 80s vibes, it's upbeat, it's dancey, it's everything else. And I'm just kind of, I suppose I'm offering that air of caution that maybe we should have had for Jorn last week, in that don't get too complacent, because if someone comes on and they've got sort of like a wow factor, an X factor, then it could all go a bit wrong.
I'm not going to mention that it was me that chose Blas Marfian last week, because it would be awful for me to do that, Tom. But you can stick with Steed all you like.
Look,
Right.
I wasn't on last week, Steve. You know, I was on my sick bed.
You were in the chat
remember.
room. Oh, you were actually. You weren't on the actual show.
Yeah, exactly. I was in the chat room on my sick bed.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Thanks for that. Anyway, let's. What does the chat room have to say, Tom?
Do you know what? The chat room are full of absolute love for this song. Little John UK, I think it will win the semi. Whether it goes through might be whether people just want an escape from the pandemic. We've also got Annie Joe. I hope it does win because my dog will love to dance to it. Lee, I do love I'm assuming upbeat, not up bear song. It's very 80s, and I love 80s music. Go Raylee. No, to be fair, he does actually. He does.
Oh, he corrects himself. Bless him.
Diana says, I prefer Wild. Steve Eurovision says close to 6 million streams for Hero already. And a shout out to Steve Eurovision because he's pinged myself and Joe on Insta with the dancing from Ketil as well. Also going on, what have we got? No complacency. There are always shocks and surprises in the game. Annie Joe, she will rock that stage. And then, I love this comment. The 80s will be back in about 60 years.
Yeah, exactly. But I think didn't the Estonians think the 80s were coming back a few years ago? Anyway, let's move on.
To that.
Yeah, it's sunk without a trace. That's your 4 done. You can still vote, though, for your favourites. Go to menti.com, use the code 80, 10, 91 and 5. And in a short while, we will find out who you in the chat room have voted for. Just remember, it's your fault. If your favourite doesn't get through, we will remember this and remind you again tomorrow night when the favourite that we all pick doesn't qualify. A bit like last week. Now, I'm sure you'll get it right this time. So, of course, like last time, we had pre-qualifiers. This time, just one pre-qualifier, not 2. And I'm so delighted that Norway this year have chosen a band and a song title that I have no chance of pronouncing. This is Stavangerkameratene, which translates as Stavanger, which is a place, obviously, for those in Norway know this, maybe others don't, comrades. And the song is Barndomsgata. I'm sorry if I've butchered that, which translates as Who I Am. Which is the name of their English version song, which is coming. Let's take a listen. So unsurprisingly, this is a band that come from Stavanger, otherwise the name might be a bit odd. They were established in 2015. They were all individually fairly well known. They've been on various Norwegian TV shows like X Factor and Idol, etc. And but they're not a boy band. They're actually a man band. They're all in their late 30s, early 40s. But they're incredibly popular. They have 2 albums behind them, over 50 million streams across Spotify, over 6 million views on YouTube. So a bit like Tix last week, they are incredibly well known. And the song reflects their lives. It's all about who they are. And I'm going to bring Joe in very quickly. Joe, you had another quite literal translation of this song, Barndomsgata. What does it stand for, if you translate it on Google?
Yeah, it's Childhood Streets.
There you go. So it's all about their childhood. Okay, so this is very much folk pop, and surprise, surprise, we've got a violin in a Norwegian entry. So I'm keen to know what we think about this one. Let's start with Ian and Donna. Let's come to you. This is a direct qualifier, so we're going to see this in the final. We're going to see this at least once, twice, in fact. What do you think of this one? And when we think of the other 2 qualifiers, Kano and Tix, where does it sit?
I like this one. It's got a nice folky feel to it. I've always quite liked sort of Scottish folk rock bands like Runrig. This has a similar kind of feel to some Running's later stuff. It's nice. It's a good song. Up against the other ones, I mean, I'm not mad keen on the Tech song, but it obviously has a massive following in Norway, so I don't know how that plays out with the voting. I think it's certainly a contender. It's got there's definitely a market for that kind of song. So how big that is, I don't know. But I think it'll do reasonably well.
It's not offensive, you know. I think Tix has the fan base, but I prefer this one as a song. Although, you know, that one's growing on me. You know, quote me later if you like. It's not totally terrible. I like this one. I do like something that's a little bit more traditional, folky and things. So this one will always sit with me. Although there were essences of Blue sprang to mind. I don't know if anyone would go with that. The first time I heard it, I thought, oh, Blue could have done this. It's like something I could have heard before that Britain could have put forward. I don't know. But yeah, I think it'll be a mid-tabler. I don't think it'll come last.
Thank you. When I listen to this, I kind of think this takes me back to the 90s when Ireland and Norway kind of merged into one. Because I kind of hear Norway, I hear Ireland, I hear some Scottish themes going on in there. And yeah, I'm kind of confused by it, but I quite like it. Steve, what's your take on this?
I agree with Donna there. I think this is a mid-tabler. I think it's quite anthemic. There's that nice kind of Nordic kind of feel to it. And I get what you say about kind of Irish, Norwegian feel. It's quite nice. I haven't had as long to listen to it. I only just picked up the track today, but it's got quite a nice feel to it. I don't think it's a winner, and I don't think that's about it being in Norwegian or English, but I think it's a nice song and it's quite anthemic.
Thank you, Steve. Elliot, folk pop and violins tend to feature pretty prominently in Norwegian music, especially when Eurovision comes around. How does this sit in comparison to a number of other similar styles across Norway Eurovision songs over the years? And does this stand a chance in the final, given what we've learnt already by some of the qualifiers and some of the pre-qualifiers?
It will definitely have that sort of homey feel, which I think the final needs. So it's good that this sort of like, you know, happy sort of song is there. It instantly reminds me of what I'd imagine if Take That ever did a song in Norwegian, led by Magnus Bokken, because it's like that very sort of boy band sound. And like I said, it sounds a lot very similar to Over the Sea from last year for me. That's not a bad thing. I actually like the song. But yeah, it's a nice enough entry. It's pleasant. It's warm. Is it a contender? Realistically, no. That's the thing. It's nice. It's warm. But there are just other big songs or bigger artists already competing in this, so it'll probably get put between. So, like for example, it could easily be put between Raylee and Kaino, and almost be treated as filler, which is a shame. I think it's been put in there for some variety. They definitely deserve their spot. It's my favourite of the auto qualifiers. Actually, I really do like this song, which I wasn't expecting when Stuart told me it sounded just like See Gubba to him. I have to disagree on that one. But yeah, I don't see this as a contender. I don't see this in the top 4 or the final 2, sadly. But it's a nice 3 minutes.
Thank you, Elliot. Thank you, Joe. You like this. We've had this conversation this morning when it first came out. What's your view on this particular song?
I do like it. I think a lot of what people have said. I mean, it is a very much middle of the road, and it probably will finish mid-table. But to me, it's just like an easy listening song with 4 guys who can sing, and are just sort of, I suppose, reminiscing, for want of a better word. And I'll be really interested, because I think it's the middle of February sometime that they're going to release the English version, which is, I think it's, Who I Am. That's what they're going to. So obviously it's going to have a different sort of title, and it'll be really good just to get a feel for the lyrics and see if they, you know, if they're similar. I mean, I don't know whether it's not gonna win, but it is great. It is a wonderful Norwegian song with great guys. So yeah, be really good to see him tomorrow. So what's going on?
Thank you, Joe. Am I the only one who hears Z Gubba in this? I'm going to bring in Z Gubba's greatest fan, Tom, and he's shaking his head as if to say I'm talking absolute baloney. You championed Z Gubba last year. What was it? Justice for Z Gubba?
Yeah, their song Charlotte last year. That was great. I mean, let's face it, it was a similar style, but it had a bit more oomph to it, particularly in the intro. Whereas this has quite a kind of genteel intro, as if it's easing people in. And whilst I say, accept no imitations, okay, only true Ziguba. But do you know what? I quite like this song. It's about the childhood streets. The video is quite nice, featuring sort of like a child basically pounding the streets of childhood. Essentially, it's got that nice folk anthemic style. It's bound to actually capture the imagination of some people. I'm expecting quite a folky performance, because I think that's basically kind of what we expect, although maybe that's the challenge. Maybe the challenge is to actually present this song in a different way. They've got a really large fan base, and I think that could stand them in good stead for the future. But do you know what? Last year, when it came to the auto qualifiers, controversial statement, I think there wasn't enough variety. And I think some of the variety went into the heats, and you lost it because it got voted out. And this year, do you know what, Stu? This is almost, in a roundabout way, justice for Ziguba, because that style is making its way into the final where it belongs. And that is the important thing here.
And I have to tell everyone, I messaged you earlier and said your justice for Ziguba is still intact. It's still happening, because the song that you want to listen to that came out at midnight last night is very much Ziguba. And you immediately came back with, it's not, or something like that.
Exactly that.
So what does the chat room say? Do the chat room agree with you, or do they agree with me, Tom?
Well, let's look at this. Obviously, Annie Jo, in reference to Charlotte, I loved that one. But Diana says, I like it, and also points out they have a large fan base. They passed Kaino and are now number 3 on the download list in iTunes Norway. Very strong position as well. We've also got, if I scroll up, where are we? Agreement that it's childhood streets. And a lot of positivity. I'd say lukewarm positivity for it, but people are quite confident about it. And as for Diana, who says, I won't be your fave anymore, but let's not write Kino off already just because of the staging. Do you know what? I love all the songs, Diana. You're still my favourite because you thought I was 100% right at one point in time. And let's face it, there's not a lot of people that say that.
And if I'm being totally honest, I'm not sure Kano have got that much competition, bar maybe 1 or 2 out of this semi-final. So we're going to find out tomorrow when it all changes and we see the live performances and eat our words. But we've asked you to vote, and you in the chat room have been voting for who you think will qualify tomorrow evening. You've heard what the panel think, and it's pretty unanimous that we felt that Raylee would qualify. So I think, Tom, we should find out who the chat room think will qualify.
Let's find out. Drum roll.
There we go. So, so the options were, of course, the 4. Daniel Owen with Psycho, Ketil Stokkan with My Life Is Okay. I do love that hoodie he's wearing. And I do hope he wears that tomorrow evening. And Maria Solheim with Nordyset, not Nordyset, apologies. And Raylee with Hero. So, with 72% of the vote, it's Raylee with Hero. Oh, bless Daniel. That's terrible, isn't it? I don't think we had a 0% the other evening, or maybe we did. And Ketil with 6%, and Maria Solheim now with 22%. And actually, Ketil was ahead of Maria, so the result, the votes have shifted since we started talking about Maria's song. So there you go. We will keep that, and tomorrow night when the results come in, we'll talk about whether we were right or whether we were wrong. However, because you've chosen Raylee, I think it's only right that we have one more listen to Hero. Let's have a listen. So there you have it. We've voted for Raylee to win tomorrow night's semi-final, but we'll find out if that is actually what's going to happen. Make sure you join us at 10 p.m. Central European Time tomorrow on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter as well. And watch us live, watch our same panel, plus one or two others, discuss the results and see whether our favourites qualified. And if that's not enough for you, and you want a bit of variety, check in with us on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central European Time when Tom and Elliot will be hosting the very best that France can offer. That's right, it's France Eurovision 2021's final preview, and you can watch that on YouTube as well. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to the panel. I'd like to say a huge thank you to Marios from Cyprus, not Turkey.
Thank you, guys. It's been another nice show. Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us, Marios. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you to Steve.
Thanks very much. Great time. Cheers.
Thank you. Big thanks to Ian and Donna.
No worries. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you to Alina.
Thanks for having me, and see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. Big thanks to Elliot.
Thanks, guys. Absolute pleasure. It's goodbye for me and the hat.
Yes, and Morton's replacement, just in case you weren't sure. Big thanks to Joe.
Thank you, everyone, and thanks to everyone on the chat. I love you all. You're amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so great that you can join us, and we wouldn't do this if you weren't tuning in every week to join us, so we do appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the actual show link, if you may, on YouTube. Tell us what you think. Ironically, the comments you leave in the chat room don't then transfer through to the comment section on the page, on the YouTube link. So make sure you leave your other comments. Tell us what you think of the show. Good and bad. We'll take whatever you send us on the chin, and we appreciate everything you do and every support that we get. Tom, great and a pleasure as always. I'm glad to see you so healthy now.
Yeah, well, I mute my mic when I cough, Stu. It's far more pleasant for everyone concerned. But do you know what? It's nice to feel a bit better, and it's nice to be back with you as well. And what a fantastic set of songs! Can't wait for tomorrow night and seeing them all live.
Exactly. And you said that not sounding at all sarcastic. Big thanks to the chat room as well. Loads of great comments coming in. We've had over a couple of hundred by the looks of things. So appreciate the comments. Everyone in the chat room, thank you very much for joining.
Going to share the final comment. Diana's apparently streaming us onto a huge TV screen where she's casting it.
Well, I do apologise, Diana. Maybe a smaller screen in future. We won't look quite as we do tonight. The smaller screen, the better. Anyway, let's get on with Norway. Let's watch it tomorrow night, and let's return and meet us back here at 10 p.m. Central European Time, 9 p.m. UK time, when we will give you our thoughts and the lowdown on whether Norway made the right or the wrong choice. Thank you to the chat room. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now. See you, everybody.